Hello, welcome back. It's time for a reveal. I've finally finished my first 1/32 scale aircraft. It's a Tamiya's P-51 Mustang. Now, just to give you an idea of where I've come from, about 3 years ago, that was my first aircraft that I built. Okay, as you can see, it's wheels up, and I've pretty much stuck with that trend ever since. And the thing that attracted me to the Tamiya range of they're top of the range basically, single engine World War II prop engines, is they can all be done wheels up. They've all got a pilot, yeah, and out of the box, more or less. So I'll just shoot across some reveal videos first, and then I'll come back to the bench and we'll have a little chat about it. This project was very long in gestation, I guess you could say. I think I just checked my computer. August 2015 is when I started this build, and since then I've just, I don't know, how many of you have got, dozens of projects? I'm looking at my wall of things here, and I've got about 20 on the go. So I made a decision, started this year, I'm going to just, hunker down and not start another kit, and then I started 3 or 4. I'll get back to that in another video, but I decided no, I need to finish this. I need to focus on this because it's my first 132. I really want it to pop. I really want it to be, one of the best things I've done, and I'm getting there. It's nowhere near perfect. There's lots of faults, mainly because, like I said, I started in August last year. August 2015. What are we? 2017, and yeah, I've learned a lot, particularly about how to wear the cockpits, about how to paint figures, and so forth. And I did all that before I, on this big learning curve. So anyway, I'm going to pop some photos up, and I'll talk over them, and I'll explain the process and the kit, and do a bit of a, as we go, review of the kit, the problems that I found, the things that I really loved and enjoyed about it, and why you should all get one, because these are almost the best out there. Yeah, have I come across anything? Well, I'll give you a hint at the end of the video, something that's even better than this, but it's definitely a 9.5 out of 10 for me. So let's have a look at some photos. So I decided to go for something a little bit more up my my confidence alley, if you can call it that, and that's doing Passion Wagon, because I love nude nose art. So it's a RAF dark green up top and neutral grey on the bottom. I thought, okay, we'll give that a go. So I've got the Kits World decals. Everything else is just out of the box. First thing I did, started the engine, and the Merlin engine in these Tamiya kits, just without any extra detail, is fantastic. I decided to add a few things. I added some spark plugs, some lines and so forth, and this bit me on the bum, as we call it down here, a bit later in the build, because if you do that and you don't do it exactly right, the way that Tamiya engineer the exhaust covers, you can't actually fit the engine in. This cockpit was the most detailed I've ever built, well, up until Wing Not Wings one I've just started recently. And lots of parts, lots of engine parts. I would probably do it a bit differently next time. I would probably paint a lot of this on the sprue, or I would use Stynel Res as the base paint instead of priming and then painting and then detail painting, just to save a bit of time. As you can see, the engine actually bolts onto the firewall of the cockpit, and there's parts you actually then, a frame that you put onto, shut up bro, onto the fuselage halves. And there's the pilot. Now the other mistake I made is back then I wasn't confident, still not, I'm getting there, confident in painting pilots. And so I painted the whole thing, and I put the pilot together, but I hadn't painted him. And in hindsight, that was a mistake. I should have painted him there and then put him in and then assembled the fuselage, because it's actually a bit of a pain to get him in. And the Tamiya pilot, it's good, it's great. It's a seated pilot. It's got molded on seatbelts, so you don't have to worry about seatbelts. That's all great, but the detail is a bit soft. Now, here it is assembled. I actually just glued those panels on. I found that the cowlings on, these are micro thin cowlings on all the Tamiya 132 Merlin engine aircraft they have. They're very, very thin, and they have to be perfectly aligned, and if anything's out, you're going to have troubles. Now they have little magnets inside them that you've got to put in, and little pieces of metal to make it all removable so you can sear that engine. But in theory it works, in practice it's not exactly right. So I decided, no, that's it, I'm just going to glue this up so it's glued in. That's not pre-shading, that's just me checking the fit of the gun panels, because you can actually remove all those gun bay panels. And this is how I should have posed the canopy. I should have left it open so you can see all the detail, but in the end I glued it shut. You can see I put a strap on his goggles. The painting begins. Now, you know me, big fan of the black basing method, so that's all Stonerers. The beauty of black paint as a base is when you're doing white, any white parts, like for the invasion stripes, white on black is easy. It's dead simple. There's no problems painting white. So I masked the invasion stripes up, and then I also put metal paint. You can see there's metallizer on the wing roots, the front of the windscreen and the gun panels, because I use the hairspray method to do chipping. And then we move on to the bottom, and what I've done there is you can see all these little dots and so forth. Before I did my base coat, which is RAF dark grey, I think, I added in other tones, so some greens, some browns, some blues, just to break it up a bit, and also break up a few panels here and there, particularly the landing gear, which in this kit you can actually have it closed. Huzzah! And the wingtip there, you can see that's how it looks when you put the final misted base coat on, and the full base coat down. Now we move to the top side, same concept. Because this was the RAF paint, it's RAF dark green, you can probably just see it in the corner of that photo. It's very matte, okay, and it comes away and it wears very quickly. So I wanted to get a lot of wears, particularly in the wing root and particularly other panels. So again, I used the other different blues and greens and browns to try to break it all up, to try to fade it here and there, and just get some variation. This close-ups of that effect, particularly the wing root, because I found all the reference photos, that's where it was. And there's the final RAF green coat down before decals. And now to the decals. Now here's the saga. Okay, when you get a Tamiya 132 kit, throw the decals out. Alright, they're great, they look great on the paper, but they're very, very thick and they take forever to get down. I use the stars and bars there, that's the only Tamiya decals, and that wing root, the red L there, and they literally took 2 to 3 days of patiently, very patiently, putting microsol down, using actually I used some quite aggressive Mr. Soft down, and yeah, it's really not worth it. From now on in, I'm either going to have aftermarket decals like the Kit Worlds, the checker nose, all the other ones there, the G4 and the A. No, absolutely fantastic, paper thin, went down perfectly, didn't even really need anything apart from a little scoring of panel lines, and bang, it was down. Or mask. All in all, really, really enjoyed this project. I'm glad I've made the decision pretty much after doing this and starting a few more, that 132 scale is really for me. I really, really enjoy the size, the presence, the detail that's involved in these builds, and the ability to weather them the way I really want to. And yes, I'm sorry that it took me so long to finish the damn thing, but I'm glad I have. I'm going to enter in a competition later this year and see how I go. I mean, like I said, it's sort of crests my modelling ability. Like I started when I was doing okay, a little bit better than that little 1/72 airfix thingy, until I developed my own the black basing and other methods of weathering and so forth, like chipping and using enamels and oils, for example, that were used on the top of this. So yeah, if you're really questioning whether you should, I wouldn't say move up, that's a bit condescending, the man scale, the 132 is just a man scale. It's a bit condescending, and there is an element of truth to it, but it's really, some people prefer the smaller scales, particularly for big subjects. Imagine having a 148 scale Lancaster, which I do have. It's a 600mm wingspan in that scale. It's over a metre in 1/32. But yeah, this has a real presence. It looks great in your display cabinet. Tamiya really have cornered this market of the single engine fighters. Absolutely love the kits, and I'll show you what I'm working on now. I'll just put this down. Okay, this is the Mark VIII Spitfire. I'm doing that for a 45-day group build. 45 days, yes. So none of this 1.5 years, 2 years nonsense of getting it done. And I'm actually not half done, but I'm getting there. It's only been a week, and I've got the cockpit together, the pilot's ready to be painted, and the wings on, and all that sort of stuff. So, learned my lesson with that one, putting the pilot inside before I button it all up. All the lessons I've learned from the other Mustang, and of course, that one is going to be natural metal finish. So that is going to be a really, really interesting experiment. And it's experiment for another reason, because I have another Mark 8 that I'm going to build as a Mark 12, which is my favourite model of Spitfire. But yeah, there it is. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll put a bit more final reveal photos up here. And till next time, have a lot of fun modelling.